What the hell? Yo, where's Chris Hansen when we need him? Arthur, my boy. Will you marry me? I swear this isn't weird. So today we're going to be breaking down the beginning after the end, episode 11. If you enjoy the video, make sure to drop a like, show your support. Consider subscribing if you're new around here. And of course, like I just showed, we do have full live reactions over on my Patreon if you're so interested. So let us begin. So boys and girls, got some bad news for you. The worst anime is getting a season 2. Now you might be saying, didn't we already know there was a second core planned? Yeah, but I mean, like everyone, we just thought it was going to get canceled, right? I mean, clearly our outrage was going to cancel this. And all our outrage did was seemingly push it from fall into the next year. And gosh darn it, am I infuriated. Not really, but it is really funny because every week I do see more and more accounts talk about how this is one of the worst anime they've ever seen. Which, hey, if you don't like the show, it's one thing. But when shows like Mars of Destruction exist, and if you don't know what that is, please do yourself a favor, go watch even 2 minutes of that. You'll start to realize what bad anime truly looks like. I've hated that show ever since I got into anime because I heard about how bad it was. And maybe that helps me to recognize. It's like when I used to see people claim Sword Art Online was the worst show ever. It's like, no, it's not. Might be the worst show you've ever seen, but thank every god in existence that that's what you consider the worst anime. The thing is like, I do think in a way the negativity is going to benefit this show. Because had it just been accepted at face value, they probably would have aired the second season, the second core, in fall, which originally, before the show dropped, we knew there was 2 cores being produced, right? So because of the obvious outrage, I'm sure they delayed it to hopefully refine it more. Now, is it going to come out looking like Ufotable, best show ever made? No, absolutely not. But it probably will allow it not to completely crash and burn. The thing is like, the show has kept me interested, not because I'm like, damn, like, this is some great production. I'm like, no, it's pretty average. But like I've said, a lot of the shows I'm watching this season don't look that far off from it. I mean, if you're watching, please put them on Takumi-san. If you're watching The Brilliant Healer's New Life in the Shadows, they honestly aren't that different. I do think this one is sometimes worse than those shows, but in general, the general movement and stuff isn't really that far off. It's just this show does have a habit of dragging things around a lot more, but it is what it is. But the thing is this show, while it did start very similar to Mushoku Tensei, it quickly went into a more slow burn, slice of life family route that now we're, jumping into adventuring and stuff. But the idea of how they went about Arthur's story and the idea that, he's this king who used to do some pretty crazy shit in his original life, now he just legitimately enjoys family time. The thing to me is that I really like that because while I do like Rudy's story and everything that show did, I think it is a very polar opposite take on this type of department. And you can see how the author, as he's even said, like, I was influenced by Jobless Reincarnation, but they clearly went and did their own thing. And there's some funny moments, there's some sweet moments, and honestly, they're doing pretty much narratively what I want the show to do. If you ask me who was my favorite of, the crew when we initially got separated from everyone, I would have said Jasmine. I thought she was, like, there wasn't much to her, but in terms of the dynamic, I kind of like the idea of someone who didn't show a lot of emotion, but clearly had a very big soft spot for Artie, and she's the one we're going to be traveling with. Like, that's perfect to me. The idea that he understands the dynamic of family and how he wants to be around his family. He legitimately cares for his family. And the idea that he wants to get stronger, he wants to make sure that he can protect them. He's not going to just jump into school. He wants to go to school like a few years later. In the meantime, he's going to be doing some adventuring and coming back home every so often. It's like, I think they are writing Arthur as a way to say, like, listen, he's not your average run-of-the-mill isekai MC who's just out here to build a harem, who's just out here to not give a shit about other people's feelings. Like, while he initially started out very skeptical of people, I actually think they've done a very good job at turning him not just like immediately flipping his entire worldview, but he's been alive in this world a decent amount of time now, that he actually has grown accustomed that there is a different way than what he was used to back in his original life. Maybe he'll still get triggered by things, maybe he'll still be skeptical at things, but it doesn't change the fact that he legitimately cares for his family now and is caring for their opinion. Like, they did a really good job there with the mom immediately being like, absolutely not. He just got back, we're not going to send him into a death trap. And he's like, listen, Mom, I ain't going to immediately go here, and I also plan to come home a decent amount because I care for you guys. Like, he legitimately is a rootable character, and I think in terms of a sea of bullshit is the best way to put it. We have so many isekai MCs who really don't look at other people's feelings that they seemingly are supposed to have a connection. They're like, I'm just gonna play with people's feelings. I'm gonna build a harem. I'm gonna lead people on. I'm gonna just do what I want to do because I'm the MC, damn it. And sometimes that can work because the character's self-aware enough that he recognizes that they're a jackass. But in this case, like, his mistakes and his ways that he does mess up, it just feels very human. And I really appreciate it about the show. Some people will come up and be like, oh, like, I get some ridiculously dumb comments. It's been better because it's less popular to grift on the show these days because it's not fresh and new. People have moved on to other things. But, you know, there's legitimately people who just have continued to watch and who don't enjoy it, which is fine, is what it is. The number of people who will still try to be like, you're only spinning it positive because you're trying to get... Like, are people, like, new to the internet? Why do you think so many anime YouTubers have turned into complete grifters? Because just talking about things you enjoy isn't popular enough to make a living for a lot of creators. So they turn into grifters and just make everything into outrage bait. Why do you think I made the title what I did? Because it will draw you in, but very quickly I say, I think it's a stupid-ass opinion to say this is the worst anime. But the fact that some people legitimately think you'll get more views... I would get more views on these videos if my entire video was shit-talking the show. People don't use their brains. But then again, there's a lot of people who watch grifter YouTubers and don't realize they're being baited into being outraged over things that don't really matter. So, you know, internet, it is what it is. But it is interesting because you can't just, like, whether a show's popular, completely unpopular, just existing and enjoying things, you will have floods of people saying you can't enjoy things. Playing the new Nintendo Switch 2, you're going to have people who are just upset because they just want to be upset. So a show that naturally has an overall negative reception, I understand I'll get a lot of people who don't enjoy it, which is fine. But it's the overreactions that do get me because... Maybe people should count their blessings, to be honest. That's all I'm saying. If you think this is the worst show you've seen in years, X-Arm's right there. You want to dig deeper? Mars of Destruction is right there. You want to go for a real shit pupa. Think that's what that show is called? God damn, was that a shit show. There's real abysmal dog shit out there. This probably should have been better produced, but I honestly think had this not been a popular series, if this was just a normal show airing, didn't have a very large fan base, I think more people would have just like watched it and said, yeah, the animation's not the best, but the story's kind of interesting, or, you know, they're not trying to go gimmicky with it. I guarantee you that's what would have happened with this, but I think because it had such a large fan base, this is what it evolved into. But either way, I mean, out of all the isekai MCs I've seen probably in the 2020s, I ain't gonna lie, like, I'm not saying necessarily a top 10, I'd really have to think of it, but I think Arthur is legitimately one of the more fascinating characters that I've followed in this genre, and I really like his story right now. And in general, I do like the side cast and how our boy bullshitted a sword out of a man. Like, he casually stole Excalibur from this man, just saying, "Uncle, can I please have this staff?" Like, that shit's just funny. And the fact that the "will you marry me" scene, it's dumb as hell, but that shit was comedy gold, if you ask me. I don't know. Whatever. People hate that I like their show, but I ain't gonna lie to you, that's for damn sure. Your thoughts down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course ring that bell, and like I mentioned, Patreon, full live reactions, and hey, I also give a video shout out to all of my patrons. So today we got Extrin, CCC Studios, Patrick Stonsky, Nathan Matthews, Jonathan, Earl888, Austin Citizen, and we also have Nicholas Geishers. I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care. You all have a good one.